So, Dave, here we go again. Episode number 10, and great news. Yet another sponsor. This time, great collaboration from Scarlett Ilona and her team. Those of you who listened to the last episode recall that Finance Technology Services sponsored that one. This is the company that collaborated with Finance Technology Services, and collectively they brought about the Guild website. All the pretty pictures and the way you see it on your screen is thanks down to Scarlett and her team. Very grateful for her supporting this episode. If you want some help there, folks, with website design, content writing, SEO consultancy, get hold of Scarlett at scarlettilona.co.uk. And that's Scarlett with 2 T's, ILONNA.co.uk. Thanks, Scarlett.
Great. Thanks again, Scarlett. And thanks also to Finance Technology Services for sponsoring our last podcast. It's great, isn't it, Trevor, to get sponsorship. As we keep saying, everything that comes into the podcast is used to cover the costs. Unfortunately, neither of us earn a penny from it. Although I did notice a new car in the car park. Is that yours?
What, the one with no wheels? They've been nicked already, have they? It's super. It really is super, mate. One or two of you might have noticed, if you've wandered by accident onto our website, that you might find that there's a little sponsorship that you can make yourself, a little donation, support the work. And look, the reason why we need it, folks, it's not so much costs, direct costs. It's all about the time that's spent behind the scenes. Give you an idea, we'll probably release this in a format of about 15, 20 minutes max, but Dave and I will probably bang on for about an hour or so. And then, of course, poor old Dave's got to edit it afterwards. So
you bang on for an hour or so. I'm ready to go after about 20 minutes.
Well, I don't blame you, mate. I really don't blame you. So, shall we have a little review then?
Yes.
April the 19th.
Well,
we dared to let something escape.
Can I go
the
back
world.
even further?
If you must. It's not when you're in short trousers, is it?
Do you know what? I bought a pair of trousers the other day.
Oh, yeah, well done.
And I'm still the same waist and leg length than I was
13.
Many years ago.
Mate, you're a giant. I mean, you look like Elf in the classroom, I would imagine, when you were at school.
Wasn't, actually. I didn't start getting, well, I've never matured, but that's a different matter. But physically.
You got chunky. Well, I think I know you've got size 15 flippers. I remember that.
Anyway, we digress as normal. But I remember, Trev, it was probably about this time last year. I was going on about a podcast. I think we did some work, didn't we, up in London with some of our friends?
Yes, of course. Yeah. Oh, do you know what I remember from that? You had to pick up the bar bill. It was over 200 quid.
Yeah, standard. But that was our first entry, wasn't it? And then I decided, look, if we're going to do this, then let's invest some time, do it properly. Still trying to do it properly, but we'll get there one day. But I had my first training course, Trev, on the 17th of January.
Wow.
Very grateful for that. And here we are.
And I must admit, mate, your technical skills have absolutely freaked me out. I mean, folks, Dave is a boy of sometimes very little brain. He tends to scan stuff and not read it fully. And if he gets bored after the first sentence, he goes off. But I trust me, guys.
I've surprised myself.
Well, I think you surprised everybody, mate.
Maybe I found a new niche in my latter years. Wasn't it Walt Disney? Didn't he, in his 50s, suddenly decide, I've had enough of films. I'm going to open up a theme park. I think he was about 50 something. So who knows? This could be my new
Do you
location.
know what? I suddenly realised the other day, do you remember the episode where you were banging on about that the south of Brazil was further than the north of Brazil? And I said, what are you talking about? And then I suddenly realised what you meant.
Yes.
The south of Brazil is nearer Canada if you go under the South Pole.
Something like that.
Right.
I don't know I don't even know what I say half the time. I'm glad you're listening and putting me right. Anyway,
so look,
19th of April was the first one, mate. The big introduction, Don't Call Me Frank. Isn't that still the highest
Yep.
To downloaded
the highest grossing ever in the world of podcasts. Yes, it was, mate.
That could go on to Netflix.
Still is.
We could sell that one to Netflix then.
Yeah.
Then 7th of May, we did our little filler, which, as people are probably aware, that's a pattern we're following.
Yeah.
We just physically don't have the time to do big, long podcast every month, but we do want to try and pepper it. Is that the word we've used before?
Peppered. We like a bit of pepper.
With little fillers. That was called a little filler with added camels.
Well, yeah, very good and dear friend of mine. She was in Egypt, I think. That's
right.
when she downloaded it. So, that's what that one was
And then
about.
29th of May, we had our first proper guest on.
Oh,
the business owner, Jo Hughes.
Love Jo. How's she doing? You've spoken to her recently?
She's been out in Kenya.
No.
Yep, not working. But I don't blame
on.
her. But she's still loving life, and her story,
the
baked beans on toast years, which I think
that episode.
I think we all related to at some point in our lives, where we're literally just having enough money in the bank to afford a loaf of bread and a tin of baked beans. And then we had another little filler. The guild gates are opened, but that was the official.
Yeah.
After our opening at the county hall.
I think that's when we sort of realised that the podcast was at the time on one track, and the guild development was another. But all throughout both journeys, we always knew that the two would come very closely linked. And that's when we told our great public what we were up to.
But it was a nice. Again, it'll be on our podcast platform forever.
Yeah,
it clearly shows there that on the 19th of June, we officially, although it was officially opened on June the 6th.
Yep.
And on the 19th, we announced it on the podcast, so that's there. And then the next podcast was with our guild chairperson, Mr. Bertie Bassett, a.k.a. Stephen Bassett.
Super. Do you know, that one got, I know there were quite a lot of downloads across the pond on that one. Stephen's a very well-respected, as we said at the time, very well-respected industry expert, stalwart, whatever you want to call him. But that was a very popular episode. And I listened to it again the other day. He's got a very nice way about the way he delivers things.
He's a legend in my book, anyway.
Whereas you're more a legend than a legend.
Talk about books.
Oh yes, folks. Little shout out for one of our members in the guild, Mr. Michael Deacon. Michael's got, as everybody might not know, he's been a co-author on a business book called The School of Hard Knocks, Authentic Business Handbook for Success, written by entrepreneurs for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Well done, Mike.
Well done. Yes, that was launched on October the 15th. So it's all up on Amazon now. So well done. I'll be looking forward to getting my head into that. And then episode 6 was another little filler. It was titled A Twist of Business Chat and a Pinch of Cumberbatch.
We sound like we've got our pipe and slippers on in front of a fire looking back over.
Yeah.
Oh, do you remember the times when? But
well, if everyone's, but bearing in mind that we could have people on listening to this that haven't listened to the previous episodes. Quickly summarising, Benedict Cumberbatch appears quite often in some of our chats, and the reason why he appears, I'm going to have to say, listen, especially to that particular episode where we explain why Benedict Cumberbatch plays such a big part in our podcast. Then we come on.
Hold on, Dave. Yeah, we had another little filler, but hold on. Do you know what I saw the other day? I saw a download in Los Angeles. Do you know what I'm a little bit concerned about? Do you remember in September we had Gillian on? Gillian Anderson.
Episode 8, that was.
Do you think it might be one of her agents?
Hope so, because maybe we can do something with Gillian.
Leave that thought there.
I've lost my trail. Oh, yeah. So Cumberbatch was 6.
Yeah.
Episode 7, again, was a lovely podcast. We had 2 guests on there, Ian Woodley and Finance Kitchen, and
Gordon Larson up at Asset and General Finance in God's own chosen country. I think that one episode, at the time, we probably had more feedback on that episode than we had to date. But I think we've superseded that in our lives.
Yeah, we have. We'll come on to that one later. But
okay.
But the boys, obviously intermediaries like myself, talking quite openly about the marketplace, in particular, Ian and the challenges that the hospitality market have.
Yeah.
And that pole vaulter, do you remember that was when the Olympics was going?
Oh, blimey.
French pole vaulter with his pole.
Yes.
And then we
quite
come on,
disturbing.
and then we come on to episode 8 with Gillian, which we just
With our
mentioned a minute ago. Little filler again. Your terrible quiz,
Which you lost.
because it was so terrible.
But you lost.
And then our last one, of course, which I think from the feedback we're getting has been very well received, because we had Andrew Frost on, Genesis Asset Finance, our first lender, and he was great, wasn't he? He really did.
Yeah, he came across so well, I thought, Dave. He was very easy to listen to. He was very straightforward, and took all the questions in his stride. That leads me on to something else. Actually, we've had over 2/3 of our entire downloads in the last 2 months.
Well, that just shows how traction. We're getting it shared by more people.
Put in traction, but
But that's the art of any podcast or of anything that's trying to be launched. Unless it's shared, then unfortunately it's limited to people listening to it.
As we've done on 9 previous episodes, you're sat in your what looks like broom cupboard. I'm sat in my tribute to God's own chosen countries. You can see behind me, everything that hasn't got blue and white flag on doesn't exist in my world. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, you and I are talking to each other now, but isn't it really, really good to know that people are enjoying this and across the ages? I do mean it. I mean, remember, I was telling you on last episode about that lovely little tribute from young Archie Hall. I think Archie, forgive me, Archie, if I'm wrong here, but I think you're about 18, maybe 19. I know you're fresh into the business.
Didn't he send us a message and he said something that he shared it with his dad, and his dad laughed. I love to know what he was laughing at.
Yeah.
They think it was my accent, my non accent.
And he said he even made my dad laugh, which is difficult to do at the best of the times. But we're in the last knockings of Series 1. And tell me, Dave, what have you thought about it all? Have you enjoyed it? Have you liked it? Do you think we got it right? Do you think we could do better? What do you think?
Are you talking about the podcast still?
Well, what do you think I'm talking about?
Yeah, listen, it was an idea I had, as I said, over a year ago. As an avid podcast listener myself, I find them very informative. I find them non-intrusive, as in, radio sometimes is something that you have on in the background or in the car. What I like about the podcast is you can turn them on, turn them off. And I just like the model. I like the way that podcasts project information, and I just enjoy that way of learning or getting information. And then you and I spoke about it, didn't we? And we thought, why not? And here we are. And so the long and short answer to it, yes, I've enjoyed it. It's obviously a lot of hard work, but because there is a genuine cause behind it, that's what keeps us going, isn't it, Trevor?
Yeah, definitely.
This isn't all about, the Dave and Trev show. This is all about trying to get small businesses a signpost to where they can gain access to the best fit finance, because
you're bob on, mate. You're bob. I mean, look at where we are. Before we started, no podcast, no website, no guild, and as we close as an independent, for the want of a better way of putting it, series of podcasts, it's got to come as no surprise when we open up with Series 2. We're going to as we open up with Series 2, we'll be fully fledged supporting the guild. We will be promoting the work of the guild. More importantly, promoting the work of the guild members. If you haven't been on the website, particularly if you're a business owner, go and have a look at it. Go and find your local business finance intermediary. Pick up the phone, have a chat.
Look, let's explain. So we did this off our own backs. Then, as you said, the guild has been since formed. The guild is moving forward very positively at the moment. There's new members joining, as you said, as a website. It now makes perfect sense that we use this platform as one of the key communication channels for the guild. Hence why we've decided that this will be the last episode in Series 1, which means Series 2, when we start that in a few weeks' time, will be a guild-driven production. It won't change much, will it?
No, I mean, folks, listen, look, the guild, the podcast, someone asked me the other day, what really is the purpose of the Guild? It's very straightforward. Dave talks about best fit. I don't know how many best fits we've had over the previous 9 episodes.
3,273,706.
Well, there you go, So, where was I? Yeah, look, it's very simple. There are other subsequent things that the Guild is there to do, but its number one is providing business owners with a trusted, honest source of knowledge and professional experience. You can find anybody. And I would suggest at the moment, we're in all four corners of the Great British Territory now. So we're in Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland. But what I'm trying to say, folks, is I would guess if you look on the map, if you look at where all the little markers are, I would suggest you're probably no more than 20, 30, 40 miles away from the nearest business finance professionals.
Can I also mention something that has followed?
Is it personal?
No.
All right.
Not this time.
Does it smell?
No.
Can I eat it?
No. Is this another one of your rubbish quizzes?
No.
One thing that's followed us through most of these podcasts is the lack of downloads in South America.
Oh, I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it.
If there was any way that we could end this first series, despite all the reasons that we're doing this, we seem to hone in on the most important part, which is to get a download in South America.
Yeah,
which we managed to do, Trevor. So
we did.
All the boxes have been ticked.
We've been downloaded in approaching nearly 200 cities. It is a UK initiative, but it's lovely to hear that people around the world, particularly people that have moved away that know us, and people that don't know us, that's who we're after, isn't it? We want to get out to people that really can benefit from what we're talking about.
Could we just do, we got a lot of, we can't do them all, Trevor, be here all day, but we did get a lot of feedback. Do you want to just cover some of the comments that were made?
Yeah, let's have a look. So I'm going to take this straight off the website because we do post it on there. What I tend to do is you can, folks, if you listen through Spotify, as you go through every episode, there's a little send us a text box. If you just click on that, then that's the way you can send feedback to us directly.
But you can give the feedback on our website as well.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. What do you think I'm talking about?
I thought you talk about Spotify.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, whatever. Whichever way you want. Oh, here's one. Liking it beef. Do you want to explain that?
I can't.
Okay. Here's a nice one. I know who this is from. Haven't tuned in before, but this is just brilliant stuff. Nothing remotely like I was expecting. Learned so much about all sorts of useful and useless things. No question. Straight onto my follow list. Here's a nice one. Heard the first one, loved it. Two cheeky chappies, talking turkey and observations are all spot on. This is one of my favourites. Morning, Trevor. I hope all is well. Been listening to your podcast in the evenings and really enjoy listening to the topics you choose and guests you bring up. I'm glad to find a podcast relevant to the industry I'm in. Keep up the good work.
Yeah.
And look, guys, there's loads more stuff. There's loads more on there, but we'll never stop.
Yeah, and I've been getting some direct emails, which again, doesn't matter how they come in, especially from lenders, which has been great. I had one in actually this morning, Trevor, from Alica Bank. Who said they've listened to the podcast and was keen to know how it...
Well, the whole bank, everybody
in the bank, they all downloaded it and just sat in a room. Listen, I know you agree. We need to thank everyone for listening.
Yes.
If you do want to get in touch, Trevor, just remind everyone of our email address.
Oh, it trips off the tongue, Dave. It trips off the tongue. Business Finance Matters Podcast at gmail.com. Business Finance Matters Podcast at gmail.com.
And we do love to hear from you. And if we can fit your comments in, we always try and do that. And hopefully, Trevor, I hope we've done a good job. Hopefully we've covered off some of the key areas of our industry, some of the examples we've already spoken about.
It sounds like we're retiring. We're not retiring, are we? Are we hanging up the headphones and the dynamic microphones? Or
No, but I just like a good send-off, okay? Anyway, let me do the serious stuff. This has been a Business Finance Matters podcast.
Just be serious.
Has been a Business Finance Matters podcast. But it is for all our business finance colleagues. We hope we've done a good job, Trevor. And I hope you continue to follow and subscribe. And here we go. The final message. Please follow and subscribe from wherever you download our podcast from.
Superb. Don't forget the website, folks, bfm.buzzsprout.com. And you'll find all on there. Some lovely bios from our guests. Great feedback, as you'll see.
Okay, should we wrap it up?
Wrap it up, big boy.
It's goodbye from him.
And it's goodbye for me.
Thanks again, guys, and we'll see you in Series 2.